God the good, God the good, God the good, omnipotent.
Beautiful. Well, today's title was inspired by the daily word today, power. The title is The Power to Overcome. Now, in life, if you're anything like me, sometimes we feel powerless. Sometimes it feels like we're powerless over that person or that situation or life. But in truth, we have all the power available to us to face a difficult situation, a challenge in our lives, and navigate. It doesn't always happen the way we want. Ever notice that? But it does work through. And I do believe it's those bumps in the road, those challenges, those disruptions that grow us, that allow us to open up to something new. Now, this is in Scripture, Psalms 68:35. The God of Israel, he giveth strength and power. God gives strength and power to each one of us. Now that's the superpower that allows us to overcome any situation. And life happens. That our co-founder, Myrtle Fillmore, who was weeks from dying, married, 3 children. She was educated. She was a teacher. And she had tuberculosis throughout her body. And she was in pain. And she was very weak. And she went to a lecturer, a New Thought lecturer, E.B. Weeks. And she heard him say, "You are a child of God and you do not inherit illness." And it transformed her life. When we get that knowing, when we know a truth is so true, it shakes us, it opens up, and all of a sudden we're new. And we can never go back. And so she took that home and she meditated with it. She lived with it. And she became stronger. And she healed. And after a couple years, she completely healed from all of her bodily conditions. Tuberculosis was gone. And her neighbors were like, "Myrtle looks so wonderful. What has she been doing?" So they were sitting and meditating with her, holding the power to overcome any situation. Because in God, is there anything outside of God's power? No. There's only one power and presence in the universe. And that power has the power to shift things, to change things, to grow things, to evolve things, and even us. Me, myself, and you. Each one of us has that innate presence, the presence that heals. It is the strength and power of godness. It makes us godless. Let's continue. Co-founder Charles Fillmore written some really beautiful books. This comes from his book, Keeping a True Lent. Man is the power of God in action. The power to control his thinking is the highest gift to man. There is a universal creative force that urges man forward to the recognition of the creative power of individual thought. So this is a primary teaching in unity. It's our third principle, that what we think creates our experience. A thought held in mind produces after its kind. So we have this incredible power, the gift of the power to control our thinking. This is the power that I've been using when about 3 o'clock on a typical office day, I get tired, I push away from my decks, I walk around. Invariably, it leads me to the refrigerator in our kitchen here, which in the freezer has an unlimited supply of chocolate chip cookies and other baked treats. And I open the door, and often the box is in my hand and the freezer door is closed and I'm standing there. And the thought comes to me. I remember the thought. I'm going to put this back in the freezer. And if in an hour from now I want a cookie, I can just have a cookie. So I put it away and I go back to my desk and I never go get a cookie. The power of our thinking, we can change how we do things. And by changing that thought, I don't have to buy new clothes. I've lost 7 pounds, and that has taken a lot of power of thought. And I love it because we do have the power to overcome, and it's the power to choose anew, to think differently, to change our thought. Paramahansa Yogananda, a great spiritual teacher who really transformed our country in inviting in that Eastern wisdom. Here he says, as a mortal being, you are limited. But as a child of God, you are unlimited. Focus your attention on God, and you shall have all the power you want to use in any direction. That's it. And we have that dual experience. We're human, and in our humanness, we have limitations. I so much wanted to give birth to 4 children. It wasn't going to happen. It wasn't going to happen. Now, I kept thinking, this is what I want. I'm limited. But in our other facet of our being, our spiritual being, is completely unlimited. There's no lack in God. There's no powerlessness in God. So when our small mind says, oh, I'm powerless, I'm sad and broken, our other side, our spiritual guides say, no, that's not true. I have all the power I need. I have the power to choose differently. And in that, we're so blessed. Reverend Margaret Pounders, a great unity ministry, actually passed this year here in Texas. And she's written some beautiful books. She says, we have within our consciousness 2 marvelous powers that inevitably bring us to whatever we choose. The power of decision and the power of desire. Very powerful tools of creating the life we want. Our decisions are like that power to not eat the cookie, the power to get a degree or get married or choose a career or to heal from an unhealable condition. Desire what we yearn for. We yearn for each of our promised families to have a wonderful job and have a home to live in. That's desire. And it's powerful because as we align our energies towards that, over and over and over again, we have seen families graduate in their own home, in wholeness. So the journey from living on the street to living in a home and employed is the power of desire. That's amazing in our lives. And each of us have things that we're working towards of what we desire or what we decide. This is our power of thought because it's thought mixed with emotion. And what happens when we affirm a high truth and we say it, I'm one with God. Not a power tool, but if I say, I'm one with God. Try it. I'm one with God. And if you can feel the vibration in your body, then that truth is vibrating all aspects of you, all consciousness of you. It's very powerful. And Reverend Sue Sicking, another great unity minister, says the power that will reshape and transform the outer world will come forth from the innermost part of each of us. It seems every Sunday's message comes to this same truth. It's an inside job. We heal ourselves. We find balance. We experience peace. We open ourselves to grace. And then, from that overflow, we can help others. Remember this standard on an airplane. Put your mask on first and then help others. Because we're no good, really no good to anyone outside of us if we're not in the right place, right time with ourselves. If you try to help someone from falling over and you're falling over yourself, it's just dominoes. Whole, strength, peace, attuning with our connection with all that is. Our connection with Jesus, with God, with balance, with truth, is the very essence of our being. And then, from there, we will be led, left foot, right foot, to the next project, the next healing, the next service. And what led me here to serve this community was when Bishop Carlton Pearson said, we need to stop waiting for them to come to us. If I waited for all y'all to come to me in Maui, I'd be waiting a long time, yes? We need to stand on the edge, know we're one with God, and we need to go where we can be of service. Now, not wait. And that's what drew me out of Hawaii, was a knowing that I had something to offer, to grow with the community. And that's the power to overcome. And as we do this week, as we've been doing in the past weeks, join me in this personal exploration. So there's 3 ideas here. The first one is to clean up. That means look at what you have. Look at your desires and your decisions. What have you created? Sometimes we decided, boy, I've created a mess. Why did I get all of that? But we can decide what works for us, what doesn't. And it doesn't do any good to beat ourselves over the head, but be aware. Clean it. Get the wreckage out of the way. Make the path clear. The second one is wake up. Align with the universal creative presence. We can do this through our prayer and meditation practice. It can be being mindful as we mow the lawn or make the spaghetti sauce or clean the diapers or balance the checkbook. We can practice our oneness with God in all that we do. And we all have places we know we go to experience that. Yes? It can be a bathtub. It could be walking in nature. It could be sitting in silence. It could be dancing. Yes? So, wake up. And when I say wake up, does that mean it's time to go take a nap and just, maybe I'll do this later on? No, now is the time. And the third one is show up. When we know our truth, when we have that nudge to be a help and a support, follow that divine guidance, direction, and inspiration. When David got his news and left, Emily just got up and led the music. Did she do that because, oh, I'm so good and I'm just going to... No, she followed guidance. She was nudged onto the platform. And it's beautiful when we do that. It's always beautiful when we're being loving care to each other. So you can add to this as you explore this week with me. Clean up, wake up, and show up. Thank you.